the schedule, Harbin. This is our annual preview of the schedule. Now, we're not necessarily picking games here. We'll do that next week. We'll give you our schedule, or sorry, our win-loss predictions and who we beat and all that stuff next week. But we felt like we wanted to go through the schedule and just kind of tell you who's Tennessee playing this year and what they're about. So let's start first game of the year, Harb. Syracuse, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia. Blech. August 30th, kickoff. Uh, I jotted some notes down here very quickly. Syracuse has got a somewhat tough schedule. Tennessee, Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame. They lost their starting running back and three starting wide receivers from last year's team, also their quarterback. Um, LSU transfer Ricky Collins is competing for the starting quarterback job along with two others. I haven't heard anything about if they've named a starter as of this recording. They lost a lot on the defensive side of the football. Athlon has them picked number 57 in the country, or ranked number 57 in the country. They were picked to finish 13th in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Thoughts on Tennessee and Syracuse? Or thoughts on Syracuse, our first opponent, sorry.
They're probably going to be bad. And they were pretty good last year. What they got 9-3?
I think they won, is either 9 or 10 games.
Yeah, they were good. They had Cal McCord and
Mhm.
some good receivers, good running back, like you mentioned. And their coach, I forget where he's from. But Notre Dame, maybe.
Maybe, I can't remember. Yeah.
I don't remember. He's he's a good football coach. I have no problems with him. I just think he might be a little undermanned this year. Uh, I don't know how much we can judge off of this game unless we struggle. And I don't necessarily see that happening, which we've got a lot of question marks, but they're replacing a lot of production on both sides of the ball, and it's kind of tough to do at Syracuse. So I don't know. It's hard. Like obviously, I'm gonna be extremely excited, but it's hard for me to get excited for a 12:30 kick in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville just does not even twitch the needle for me anymore.
I'm so over those games.
Yeah, give me home and homes, and I understand why they do it.
What did we just talk about? Money.
I mean, you got Tennessee fans in the general vicinity of those three cities that we named. I get it, but give me some home and homes. Like, how fun would it be to go to the Carrier Dome?
Be great.
I don't know if I'd make that trip, but it would be really fun to see Tennessee playing in the Carrier Dome and other
Yeah.
places.
Well,
You
I've
know,
been going back, Harb, and watching some games this, at night. There's nothing on TV much right now. You go back and watch, like, Tennessee played UCLA home and home all the time. We've played Syracuse home and home. We did a home and home with Louisville in the 90s. I mean, you just don't see that anymore. I mean, we're playing NC State and Charlotte. We're playing Syracuse and Georgia Tech and Atlanta. And I don't know, next year, I'm hoping we play at Bobby Dodd when we play Georgia Tech, but I have a feeling that's going to be back at this same stadium. But yeah, you're right. Like these games just, they've kind of lost their. Remember when they first started doing them, how cool you thought it was? And I remember going down to the NC State game in Atlanta in 2012 at the Georgia Dome. And I was like, man, I wish we would play in one of these games because they used to have them for years leading up to it. And now it's just like, can we stop having to go to Atlanta, Charlotte, and Nashville all the time, please? Like, let's keep it at home or send us somewhere cool. Like
mhm.
BYU. I hated dropping that game. I know it wasn't us that dropped it, but anyways, I think you're right. I don't think Syracuse is going to be all that great. I don't think Tennessee. I mean, I'm not saying we won't have a problem with them, but like we talked about last week, a lot of unknowns with this team. But I think Tennessee's has got a deeper team, a more talented team. So we'll see. But Syracuse, Not very good. Lost a lot. Possibly not very good. That's all you need to know. They could surprise us. Fran Brown's their head coach, by the way. Next up on the schedule, in-state. I guess this would be a little cousin, maybe. East Tennessee State University. Not much to talk about here. They're an FCS Division One AA team. I did do a little reading about the Buccaneers. Harb. They are seems to be by most the most talented team in the Southern Conference. They're predicted to win the Southern Conference, and if I read this poll right, they're ranked number 22 in the preseason FCS poll. So it's not like we're just getting some bottom barrel FCS team coming to town. This ETSU team, I think they've got a bunch of FBS transfers on their roster this year. So again, I don't think it's anything, Tennessee shouldn't win this game by 4 to 6 touchdowns, but not a bad FCS team. They'll probably make the playoffs in FCS. I think they did last year. So
Yeah.
be interesting to see that matchup. ETSU's been here before. They'll probably bring a few fans with them. Maybe we should do a home and home with ETSU. And they play in the mini dome.
Fun too. Be fun.
Next up, our big game. We know your thoughts on this one. The Georgia Bulldogs. Am I right on that?
Yes.
Are they after ETSU? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Georgia Bulldogs coming to town. Georgia, I didn't realize this until I was looking them up. They only returned 7 starters on both sides of the ball total. Gunnar Stockton, new quarterback. We saw him at the end of the season last year in the SEC championship game. They are ranked number 4 by Athlon. And the SEC preseason poll, they were picked to finish 2nd. Thoughts on the Bulldogs?
They're obviously going to be good. And it's going to be tough games. The biggest game we have at home this year. There's a lot of turnover, but we talk about it with the baseball program. Yeah, they lost 15 starters, but they're not rebuilding. They reloaded.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a very good chance they got some upgrades at certain positions. Haven't delved that much into their roster. It's a huge game, and we're not going to know a ton going into that game, I don't think. If we do know a lot, it's probably going to be not good. I'll put it that way. Like if we scrap one out against Syracuse or something like that, then turn around and don't look overly impressive against ETSU. But I mean, it's gonna be rocking. It's gonna be a fun one. I think it's already slated for 3:30.
3:30 on ABC.
Place is gonna be jumping. I mean, everybody in the world knows that. I do like where this is on the schedule, though. If you go back and look in recent years, they may not have lost, but Georgia tends to always struggle in their first conference road game. Just whether it be getting their feet wet, not used to the environment, I don't know. Like they scrap and claw against like a Kentucky or a South Carolina. And now, in my opinion, you have an even better opponent, which I'm not saying they're not going to be ready for Tennessee and Knoxville. They're going to be ready. But I do like where it is on the schedule. I do.
Who do you think Georgia plays before they come to Knoxville?
Samford.
Marshall and Austin Peay. So
I mean, we're playing Syracuse and ETSU.
we're playing Syracuse and ETSU.
Yeah, but
at least Syracuse is a power 4, but I don't know if Marshall's better than Syracuse. I don't know anything about Marshall. I'm just saying, like, they're playing 2 cupcakes. Let's just be honest. Before they play Tennessee, Tennessee's playing 1, and maybe I can't call Syracuse a cupcake. They're in the ACC.
they're not a cupcake, but we should win going away.
Yes. But you get my point. I mean, you're right. Georgia, and this is where this game almost used to be. It used to be early October, late September, and Georgia has a tendency to struggle out of the gate in their first couple big games of the year, and then they figure it out. So you could be onto something with that. We'll talk more about it next week when we actually pick the games, but I think schedule wise, this probably comes at a pretty good time for Tennessee.
I think so. Anytime you get to play that game here as opposed to Athens is obviously a plus. But I mean, that program's played a million big games, and anytime they go on the road, they're getting that crowd's best, at least for a quarter. Because if they go to Mississippi State or wherever, it's over in about 8 minutes. But yeah, I mean, there's data, and I'll bring the data next week.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not spoiling it, but
I know you've got data. You told me about it. You might have me convinced on your outcome, but we'll save that for next week.
We'll see. That's going to be one of the most fun home games of the year. Kind of hate that we're blowing our wad in week 3, but is what it is. I'll take it.
You look at Tennessee at home, they're 20-1 their last 21 games at home. Their only losses to Georgia back in 2023. So Tennessee does play well at home. We've got 3 straight home games and then Syracuse, which I would assume would be a de facto home game for us because we're going to have way more fans in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium than Syracuse. So let's just say 3 straight legit home games and then 1 semi-home game. But Tennessee just doesn't lose at home much over the last few years. And I tweeted this last night on my account, Morgan Wallen's song, I Got Better. And he's got a line in there that says, the boys still lose unless they're playing at home. Well, that's the Vols. The Vols still lose unless they're playing at home. They just don't lose anymore at home. So it'll be an interesting matchup because you're going to have a raucous crowd, a 3:30 kickoff, so everybody will have plenty of time to tailgate. We would assume Tennessee should be 3-0, or sorry, 2-0 coming into that game. Georgia would be 2-0 coming into that game. 2 nationally ranked teams facing off against each other. One of the first big SEC games of the season. I don't know if there's any others before that, just in the conference, not nationally. But I'm interested to watch Georgia with Gunnar Stockton. He came in last year into the season, and he, played pretty well, decently against Texas, but I don't know. I mean, everybody seems it's Georgia's way is they just put a guy out there at quarterback and they just find a way to win, similar to what Alabama has done for years, especially under Nick Saban. It didn't really matter who the quarterback was necessarily. It's just been in the last since Kiffin was there that they really got that dynamic quarterback at Alabama. And you can say like, what's his name that just transferred to Miami? It's got one of the Cavender twins. Carson Beck. I mean, he was a big time quarterback. But he had his own struggles last year and he was injured quite a bit, but they're replacing a lot on both sides of the football, but when they're replacing a lot on both sides of the football, they've got 4 and 5 stars waiting in the wings. So it's how do those guys step in and fill those voids left by those guys that either were drafted or transferred. So we'll see. Again, we'll pick the game next week. Next opponent for the Vols, September 20th versus UAB. I don't think UAB is going to be very good either. Only thing I could really find about them is I believe their quarterback is former Florida Gator quarterback Jalen Kitna, son of John Kitna. And their coach is Trent Dilfer, former Super Bowl champion.
Oh, isn't Kitna the one that got caught with underage photos or videos on his phone?
I don't know. I'd have to look that one up. I have no idea.
This isn't slander. I'm 99% sure this is him. Now it was a funky case because it was his freshman year at Florida.
Oh,
Honestly,
I thought you meant John kid. No, you're talking about this kid.
no.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, it was one of those weird deals where he was 18 and he broke up with his girlfriend and went to Florida. And if I remember this correctly, I really hope I'm not wrong on this because I think I'm right. And if I'm not, I
We'll look
apologize.
it up and find it for next week. How about that? Because I have no idea. I don't
No,
remember.
but what it was, uh, he was 18, him and his girlfriend broke up, or he cheated on her. I don't know. It was something like that. And his parents were really mad. And long story short, they got a like subpoenaed his camera roll or it was something like that. And he had pictures or videos from when they were together while she was underage. But he was also underage while those pictures were taken, but he still had them on his phone while he was an adult, and it was a whole ordeal. I don't think he ended up getting charged with everything, but I do remember hearing about that. But anywho, yeah, Trent Dilfer's coach.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I expect this game to go better than the last time UAB came to
Ugh.
town.
I
Yeah,
remember that game. That was bad. I
yeah.
had a mental breakdown, even though we won that game after the game.
Was that the one that went to overtime, or no? Was that the one where it was a shootout, or was that Troy?
That was Troy. We went to overtime with UAB with Matt Sims at
Oh, so
quarterback.
okay, so it did go to overtime with them.
I
That's
remember when we won it, I was sitting there like shaking my head. I was not happy. I was like, why are we going to overtime against UAB? What are we doing? Thank you, Derek Dooley. Moving on. No more UAB talk. Moving on. First true road game of the season, September 27th at Mississippi State. Harbin, I will be there at this game. My first trip ever to Starkville, Mississippi. I don't know if people should be excited for me or nervous. Um, just a little bit briefly on Mississippi State. They were not very good at all last year. Common theme with teams on this schedule, by the way. They return quarterback Blake Sharpen and running back Devon Booth. They ranked last in total defense in the SEC last year. And coming into the season, Athlon has them ranked number 66. They are picked to finish 16th in the SEC. Any thoughts on Mississippi State Bulldogs? This is a whiteout. Mississippi State announced last week that they are honoring the 25th anniversary of their Independence Bowl win over somebody where it snowed. So they're wearing all white pants, shoes, jerseys, helmets, and it's got the old interlocking MSU in it, which is cool looking. So we would assume Tennessee's going to wear either their home uniforms or maybe the grays. I don't know. I hope they don't wear the grays on the road because we're wearing them. I would assume the first game of the season, and that should be at home anyway. So you would assume
I
Tennessee's
think
going to wear a version of their home uniform
I think you take the black jerseys down there.
in September in Mississippi.
Well, that game's more than likely. I think that game's going to
It's
be a
going.
night.
It could be at night. That's true.
Night game. You take the black jerseys down there, and you go white versus black. And aesthetically on TV, I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it'd be like the old days in black and white television.
Yeah, like I like if Mississippi State's going to make this, well, which obviously the Egg Bowl is their most important game of the year, which I don't know where the Egg Bowl is this year. This could be their biggest home game,
Yeah, I don't know who else they
their
play.
biggest quote unquote realistic home game, or if they host like Alabama or something, uh, in their minds. I want to preface that, but they've obviously proved that this is going to be big. It's going to be one of the best home crowds of their year. It's kind of like what we were talking about with the Georgia game on our end. Go down there and spoil it. If they're going to rock some cocaine uniforms,
Matt Gorman will love this. They're wearing the cocaine whites.
absolutely. Uh, I think you go down there dressed up for a funeral.
I'm down.
I, I,
I don't have any black Tennessee stuff to wear, but I'm down with them wearing the uniforms.
I think it'd be fun.
This could be it's one of those flex games like mid to late afternoon night games. That would be, I would assume they might try to put this at night since they're doing the whiteout. That would look a lot better at night than it would in 3:30 in the afternoon or 2:30 Starkville time. But yeah, I'll be heading down for this game. It is another stadium to knock off the list of SEC stadiums visited. So I don't know when we'll ever go back to Mississippi State, so I had to knock it off. So I'll be there. So expect the worst. If I'm there, we usually lose. You're talking about uniforms. Remember, we went down to LSU in 22. LSU wore all white, and we wore the smoky grays. I think I didn't mind that, but I think we missed an opportunity that game to wear the orange. I just think LSU's purple and gold, Tennessee's orange and white. It's a classic uniform matchup, and I did like the LSU all white. I mean, it was the same uniform except they were wearing white pants and a white helmet. Um, but I was like, I've always wanted to see Tennessee and LSU play in person. I saw them in, what was that, 2010 when we had 13 on the field, and we wore our home uniforms. They wore their traditional white uniforms like the Redskins and Cowboys used to do. And next time around, it was a little different. I was just a tick disappointed, but we won 40-13. How could I be upset about that, Harb?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Next up, we come back home. October 11th. There's a bye week sandwich between Mississippi State and then our next opponent, Arkansas. We all remember what happened last year in Fayetteville. I was there. It was disgusting. One of the most miserable nights. Not the most miserable, but not a good night in Fayetteville last year. Arkansas, from what I've read, they lost a ton of players last year from last year's team. So a lot of turnover. Talon Green is returning at quarterback, however, the former Boise State quarterback. Athlon has them ranked number 39, but they were picked to finish 14th in the SEC, Harbin. Is this kind of like the South Carolina revenge game from a couple years ago? Remember?
Yeah, this game is 1000% going to be at night.
I hope so.
It, it it's going to be. I don't know what the schedule is around the conference that week. There's a 0% chance this is the best game that week, so it's not going to be at 3:30. It's going to be a night kickoff, and this is probably going to be the second most rowdy crowd.
Well, we know it won't be at noon or 12:45. Those have already been selected. Ole Miss hosting Washington State at 12:45. Missouri hosting Alabama at noon. Well, we know it won't be at 3:30.
That sounds a little trappy, by the way.
Ooh, there's that word.
Bama at Missouri at noon or 11 a.m.
It's an
Mm-mm.
interesting slate of games that weekend, Harbin, in the SEC.
That sounds like a couple of Ty Simpson interceptions before noon local time.
Ooh,
That's
yeah,
all.
because that'll be 11,
That's
11
all I'm
p.m.
saying. I'm just saying, a little trappy, a little trappy. Missouri money line right now.
South Carolina at LSU, Georgia at Auburn. Reagan's going to that game. I was
That'll be the
informed.
3:30 game.
Yeah, that'll probably be 3:30. Florida at Texas A&M. That can't be all of them. Well, what has happened here to my screen? Um, sorry, I don't know what's going on here. October 11th, where are you? There must be some teams off. Oh, Oklahoma versus Texas in Dallas. That game's usually at noon, but I wonder if they might move that around.
That'll be at noon.
Let's see here. October 11th, Florida at A&M, Oklahoma versus Texas at the Cotton Bowl, Arkansas at Tennessee, Alabama at Missouri, Washington State at Ole Miss, South Carolina at LSU, Georgia at Auburn. So I think you're right. Georgia at Auburn will be 3:30. There's already two others set in the noon slot: Alabama, Missouri, Washington State, Ole Miss. So Tennessee's, you're probably looking at that. Our favorite, maybe that 4 or 5 o'clock kickoff. or maybe the night game. I don't know. South Carolina, LSU, probably not kickoff, I would assume.
At LSU.
It's at LSU, so they're going to probably demand a night game. Um, Oklahoma and Texas would probably not be at night. That's going to be in the middle of the day somewhere because
Yeah.
that game's always usually traditionally it's a noon kickoff, but I don't know. Florida at A&M, I don't know where that one would fall. So it'll be interesting to see. Should Tennessee be concerned about Arkansas?
No. I think we've got enough fire under our ass from last year. I think they're I think they're kind of worse than they were.
Yeah, they've had a drop off.
I think this is one of those belt to ass, get your lick back, keep it trucking, and then bring in, is it Oklahoma the week after? No?
Close. Alabama.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, get you some momentum going to Tuscaloosa.
We're coming off a bye week too, so you're going to be rested, presumably healed up. So I just think Arkansas has had a lot of turnover. There's a lot of uncertainty around that program right now at the head coaching position. You know, if they have another mediocre to down year, they're probably going to move on from Sam Pittman. So they don't have the best mojo around that program last year, even though they beat us last year. I think they're going to struggle this year. So, yeah, you mentioned next game, Tennessee at Alabama, third Saturday in October, October 18th. I will also presumably be at this game, as I usually am. You mentioned Ty Simpson, the Tennessee native, has been named starting quarterback for the Crimson Tide. They are ranked or returned much of its starting defense from last year, which is a decent defense. I wouldn't say they were good. They were pretty good though. But picked to finish third in the SEC. Athlon has them pegged at number 8 nationally. We haven't won in Alabama since 2003. Is this the year?
Well, we won in Alabama in 2018. We just played Auburn.
Touche.
We won in Tuscaloosa since '03.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm gonna save it for next week.
That was probably a bad question on my part, so don't answer that.
Yeah, yeah,
I got ahead of myself.
bad podcasting.
Bad hosting.
It's going to be an extremely competitive game. There is so like they have a lot of question marks too. They have a
They
ton.
do.
They have a ton, especially at quarterback position. Which you can say what you want about Milrow, and I've probably already said it myself. He made stuff happen. Now, if you made him play quarterback, it was bad, but he had so much more ability to do other things. And if you let him run, that's when they beat you. With Ty Simpson, can he move? I think so. He can't move like Jalen Milrow.
No.
You would almost have to assume that he can throw it better than Jalen Milrow. But I mean, there's a whole lot of there's like as of August 18th when this episode comes out, there's a million question marks in that game. Like it's just I don't know. Like if we go down there and lose by 17, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. Hell, if we went down there and won the damn thing, I wouldn't be shocked either. So there's a whole lot up in the air there.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of question. Not the same as Arkansas, but there is a lot of question marks around the Alabama football program right now. You know, they went 9-4 last year, and they were kind of all over the place. They looked good at times, like a national title contender or a playoff contender, and then they look god awful at different points, just kind of all over the place, which sometimes you can expect with a first year head coach. Now he's been here for a year. He's brought in a recruiting class. He's got a new quarterback. I don't know. I mean, I think Kalen DeBoer is an outstanding football coach, but is he going to win at a high enough clip to please the people at Alabama? 9-4 is not going to cut it down there. And if they do that again, it's going to get loud in Tuscaloosa. I haven't really looked at their schedule to see who they play before or after us when we come down there, but if Tennessee's healthy, and we get competent quarterback play, I think Tennessee's got a chance. I mean, I don't think they're going to be a huge underdog when they go in there. I'd say it'll be several points, but I don't know about what, 6, 7, 8 points, something like that, probably.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's within the quote margin of error, so that Tennessee could win. So I don't know. It's just we haven't done it in so long. It's just hard to fathom it and imagine it. You look at, and we'll talk about Florida in a minute, but Florida and Alabama, we've not won down there in 2 decades. So, um, like I said, I'll be at this game. One sad note is we won't be crashing and sleeping at the college apartment this year because Kirby doesn't live in it anymore. So,
I mean, you probably could.
well, we could. His girlfriend lives there, but
Oh, I was just gonna say you could knock on the door and be like, "Hey, we've crashed here every time we come down
yeah.
here. Just keep the tradition going."
I'm sure we're going to party and tailgate there prior to the game, but I think we'll have to find somewhere to stay besides 300 yards away from Bryant Denny Stadium this year. So, all right, next up, Oklahoma. November. We're into November now. November 1st, Neyland Stadium. Oklahoma Sooners come to town. Maybe John Mateer is the starting quarterback for the Sooners. Kind of up in the air right now. He's a Washington State transfer. He's had some gambling accusations come his way because of a public Venmo account that somebody stalked from years ago, where he sent somebody money for, quote, sports gambling, is what he put in the memo line, like a moron. But um, they're picked to finish 10th in the SEC. Tennessee's picked to finish ninth, I believe. Athlon has them ranked number 20. I think Tennessee is ranked 23, 24 by Athlon. So on paper, right now, this is an even coin flip matchup to me. Now, what's Oklahoma going to be like as the season progresses? They were not good at all last year. They really struggled to move the football offensively. They had quarterback problems, they had offensive line problems. I would expect their defense to be improved, especially under Venables as their head coach. But I think there's a ton of question marks around this team. I mentioned the theme of Tennessee's schedule. These teams were not good last year. And Tennessee handled Oklahoma at Oklahoma last year. I don't know what to make of this team because they could go 9-3 or 8-4, or they could go 5-7 or 6-6. This Oklahoma team kind of intrigues me because there's a lot of, like Alabama to a certain extent. Oklahoma fans are used to winning football games at a high clip, and they have not done that the last couple of years. And then they move into the SEC, and they struggled big time. And their whole athletics department did, but should be a big game. I mean, Oklahoma coming back to town. They haven't been here since 2015. That was a big time game with Baker Mayfield and that crew. We should have won, obviously. So it'll be cool to see the Sooners in Neyland Stadium. It should be a fun night. I think that's either another one of those mid afternoon to night games. So we'll see where that falls. But that's getting into the late part of the season in Tennessee. Theoretically, when we start picking these games, there's a potential for Tennessee to still be in, maybe, I don't know, the mix in the SEC, but even in the mix nationally for a playoff spot if things fall right for them. But what do you think about Oklahoma coming to Neyland?
If John Mateer plays, Oklahoma's going to be a good football team. Um, Especially with the addition of their new offensive coordinator. I don't have his name handy, but dude's like 2 years older than me. Like, I don't even think he's 30. could be 30. He's right around it. He's got a hell of a story. I'll try to summarize it real quick. He had a finance job. He hated it. There was a volunteer position to open up at Houston Baptist, I think. He quits his full time job he was making good money at to go be an offensive assistant, volunteering. He did Uber Eats. Well, he just grinded and grinded and got to be quarterback coach, I think. It was first offensive coordinator, or maybe his second. He ended up at Western Kentucky. And that was the year Bailey Zappi had the breakout when he had like 5,000 yards,
Yeah.
45, 50 touchdowns. And he went somewhere else after that. And it was the year that Caleb Williams won the Heisman. His quarterback at his mid-tier level school had more yards that year than Caleb did. And then he went to Washington State, and he had Cam Ward at Washington State. Obviously, Cam Ward's number one overall pick. Dude's kind of a diamond in the rough quarterback guru. So, and obviously he's been with Mateer for at least a year. So, and they went to Oklahoma together. Incredible story. I hate that I can't think of this guy's name. But
Ben Arbuckle.
Okay.
And he was previously offensive coordinator at Washington State for 2 seasons and at Western Kentucky in 22, like you mentioned. He played quarterback, it says, at West Texas A&M, and he was a financial advisor at one point. He also delivered food, like you said. I don't have his whole story here in front. I'd heard that before, but yeah, kind of like came out of nowhere quickly.
Yeah.
Must be a pretty bright guy, but they said it says here he runs an attacking style offense with dynamic passing game that emphasizes quick decision making. Where's that sound familiar from?
Hmm.
Described as air raid influenced. Yeah. He's worked with quarterback John Mateer at Washington State, Cam Ward, and Austin Reed at Western Kentucky. I don't know where he worked with Cam Ward at, but
Cam Ward was at Washington State.
oh, that's right. He was at Washington State. That's right.
But yeah, if with which the whole thing with Mateer that came about the past week or so, I think he'll get to play if the only thing I have is Venmo screenshots. Like if there's no traceable way,
Yeah.
which he was dumb enough to say sports gambling (parentheses USC versus UCLA), and on that date,
Yeah.
USC and UCLA played football that day. So not looking great for the young man.
No.
I expect him to play, and if he does, that is going to be a very tight game.
That could be a night game, Harb. Just looking at the schedule. Vanderbilt's at Texas, South Carolina at Ole Miss, Kentucky's at Auburn, Mississippi State at Arkansas, Georgia versus Florida in Jacksonville. That's always 3:30. So I'd probably say that's a night game in Neyland.
Yeah.
November 1st, night game. Gonna get
Okay.
dark a little early at the tailgate.
That one could get fun.
Yeah, could be.
Hmm.
All right. Next up, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left, Harb. So one of them we won't talk much about. At Kentucky, at historic, as Gavin used to say, historic Kroger Field. Kentucky, a lot of transfers, especially on the offensive side of the football. A lot of transfers on the offensive line. They've got transferring at quarterback, 2 guys competing for the job. I didn't even see their names. I think one of them played at FCS level last year. They are ranked 46 overall by Athlon, picked to finish 15th in the SEC. Again, theme of the schedule, they were not very good last year. They ranked 114th nationally on offense in 2024, so they really don't have anywhere to go. Just a few clicks down, but they don't have anywhere to go but up. A lot of people, I think they went 3-9 last year, maybe, or 4-8. A lot of question marks around that head coach. And he was kind of one foot out the door there a couple years ago for that Texas A&M job and didn't get it. Um, but if they have another 3-9, 4-8 season, do they hold on to him? But the problem is he's got a $40 million buyout in his contract, Mark Stoops. So he's kind of got him by the balls here hard. But I don't
They're
expect.
never going to fire him,
Well, he's their
especially if,
winningest coach in school history.
all that, and especially if the basketball team's relevant. They don't
Yeah.
care.
They don't.
They don't care. And
They try to act like they do, but they really don't.
and they beat Ole Miss last year. Hell, they'll hold on to that for 5 years.
Yeah, true. Um, I don't expect from what I've read. I know they're ranked 46. I just don't expect them from what I've read to be very good. There's just so many question marks and they don't recruit at a very high level. And I don't expect, of course, it'll probably be a night game. Every time we play Kroger Field, it's at night. So, and we're their biggest game of the year. So I'm sure we'll get their best shot, but I think Tennessee's a better program. They're a better team. I think we go up there and not to spoil it, but I don't find us having problems with this team. Could be wrong, but that's all I'm saying about Kentucky. They're not worthy of us talking about them. New Mexico State, November 15th, my birthday. We play on my birthday. Last time we played on my birthday was Kentucky 2015, and we absolutely demolished them. So New Mexico State Aggies at Neyland Stadium. I think it's like a 4:15 kickoff. Should be a good day, Harb. Hopefully the weather cooperates.
Should be.
I don't know anything about New Mexico State. I didn't even bother to look them up. So if you're listening or watching and want to know more about the Aggies, Google or Bingham, you'll find them.
They play their home games in New Mexico.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Uh-oh. At Florida, next game.
Keep it moving.
DJ Lagway returns for the Gators. They're picked sixth in the SEC. They're ranked number 11th nationally by Athlon.
Wow.
Tennessee's not won there. I don't because they got DJ Lagway at quarterback. That's the only reason why. And they've got dynamic wide receivers, supposedly.
They also have objectively the hardest schedule in the country.
Yeah, they've got a very hard schedule, like they did last year.
Like non-biasedly, if Florida somehow goes 10-2, Billy Napier's coach of the year, without question, bar none. Like the schedule they have is brutal. They play at Miami. I want to say, well, they have A&M at home. I want to say at Texas. They play Georgia.
I got it right here. You want me to read it?
Very quickly because we're taking
Yeah.
too long.
They host Long Island, game one, Long Island University, South Florida at home. Then they go to LSU, to Miami, host Texas, at Texas A&M. They host Mississippi State, Georgia, in Jacksonville. They go to Kentucky. They go to Ole Miss. They host us, and then they go to Florida State. Pretty tough schedule.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Imagine if Florida State was worth a shit.
Yeah. They would have at Ole Miss, hosting Tennessee, hosting Florida State to finish the season.
That Ole Miss game is going to be hard. I think Ole Miss. A lot of people sleeping on Ole Miss. I think I think they're going to be pretty good.
Never sleep on Lane Kiffin, coach team. But yeah, and we're not picking the games, but I have zero confidence Tennessee goes down there and wins this game until I see us go down there and win a game in the swamp. I just don't believe it'll ever happen. I'm like, Kentucky fans are delusional. They think they're going to beat us every year, but Kentucky and Vandy fans should think the way we do about Florida. We're never going to beat them. I think we can beat Florida, but will we? We piss our leg every time we go down there.
I do have a slight bit of optimism on where it falls in the schedule.
And can DJ Lagway? This is a question. I mean, he's hurt, just nagging hurt injuries. He's out right now with what is it, a calf or a hamstring or something? I mean, he was hurt last year quite a bit. So, a lot of their hopes and dreams lie on him. And I mean, he was the top rated quarterback in his class a couple years ago, but I just didn't see it last year. I know it was his first year, but he's getting a lot of pub, so we'll see where he plays out at. But I mean, a lot of their hopes and dreams, like I said, rely on him being healthy. So we'll see. You're not going, are you?
No.
I know you went a couple years ago.
Yeah, I'm not doing that again.
Good.
Just-
All right. This is an interesting game. Not really because we're playing Vanderbilt, but been a lot of jaw jacking from that team um, here in the offseason, especially their starting quarterback. Vanderbilt coming to town. Pavia returns at quarterback. They're projected to finish number 13 in the SEC, and they're ranked 40 nationally by Athlon. Thoughts on the Commodores? Harbin, are you awake?
Oh,
Oh, there you go. You
well,
fell asleep.
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Tennessee's playing Vanderbilt,
Oh, okay.
and their quarterback runs his mouth about Tennessee a lot. I don't know why. We smoked the crap out of him in Nashville last year, but
He's an idiot. He is milking every bit of 5 seconds of fame that he got last year. And he's a good player. They had a good year. But he went on busting with the boys and said that Tennessee was their state. And Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, they kept it professional-ish, but they didn't call him out. They just looked at him like, easy player, you got too much dip on your chip.
hmm
Just
that's not
and
smart.
he's saying that national championships are the standard at Vanderbilt. I need to get in touch with his guy because I want the shit that he's smoking or injecting or taking because that you don't say that soberly. You
And
just
there's some X accounts too that are posting like Vanderbilt was this close last year to making the playoffs, and I don't know, they're probably trolling,
that's
but some of them they're probably so dumb they probably believe that. Like we were 7 points away from making the college football playoffs last year. Like they're delusional. I saw a post. I don't know who posted it. It was one of those 62 I can't remember what it's called. Just huge Homer accounts. But then there's like Vandy's Barstool account, like talking about that school to the east, and like they tweeted today about they're like, look, we use private funds to build these renovations to our stadium. That school to the east had to use public funds, which is not entirely accurate.
we've
Vanderbilt's not a state university either. They're a private university. So,
we've already wasted enough oxygen
yes.
and our listeners' time on talking about
I
Vanderbilt.
think several of our listeners have probably turned us off as soon as they heard Vandy or fast forwarded. Travis Bell listens to us in 2 times speed, so he probably went up to 100 times speed to get through this.
Yeah, it's yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the schedule. I mean, and I don't want to belabor the point here, but a lot of winnable games. We talked about this last week. A lot of winnable games on this schedule. I mean, you look, I know we're picking games next week, but I mean, you look Vandy, New Mexico State, Kentucky, um, UAB, ETSU, and I put Syracuse on there. That's 6 wins right there out of the gate. And I think you could probably I hate to do this because it's on the road and I know how we perform on the road. But Mississippi State's another game we should win. Arkansas is another game. Tennessee's going to be favored and should win. So that's 8 right there. And you've not even played Alabama, Oklahoma, Florida, and Georgia. So, a lot of it's going to like take care of the games, win the games you're supposed to, and see what happens in those 4 other games, the Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and Oklahoma game. I mean, I don't know if we're going to be, I would assume we would be favored against Oklahoma at home, but we're not going to be favored against Alabama. We're not going to be favored against Georgia, and we're not going to be favored against Florida. So But Tennessee needs to take advantage of this schedule because I'm afraid after this year, the intensity of our schedule in the conference is going to tick up a little bit because you look at who we've played compared to some of the other schools that they're playing, it's not equal at this point. I know it's how it's drawn out and it all rotates around, but you look, like, do we pick up an Auburn next year? Do we pick up LSU again next year? Do we pick up South Carolina again? I don't know. Obviously we're going to pick up Texas because it's there. We've played Oklahoma 2 years in a row, so it's time to pick that up. But Tennessee needs to take advantage of this. Long story short, they need to take advantage of this schedule and continue to win as many games as they can and build this program back up because they got a great recruiting class coming in and there's a lot of very winnable games on this schedule.